And now for something completely different. This is MonsterArts Godzilla. Well, what else would it be? I mean, I feel kind of silly. Everyone should know who this is. This should be an unmistakable icon of Japanese cinema. And he does look amazing. This is the first entry into the MonsterArts line, which should be Godzilla based, though you never know. D-Arts expanded, Figuarts expanded. You never know what we're going to get out of this one. But this is their first offering, and generally first offerings from these new figure lines have a few hits and misses. So what I'm going to do first is take you on a tour of this toy, because one of the best things about it is just the sheer level of detail that they accomplished. Take a look at that head. Look how much sculpting there is. His ears are there. All the spines across his forehead are there. Eyebrow ridges are intact. Eyes are painted. Teeth are painted. Mouth fully painted. Tongue fully molded down to taste buds. Even the multiple rows of teeth. This is a modern Godzilla, by the way, if you have not taken into account. And it's not the Matthew Broderick Godzilla. So it's a good version of Godzilla. All the way around, you can see the eyes. Now, I have heard that the eyes can be a little bit wonky for some. I don't know. Mine looks okay in person. Who knows what it looks like on camera once I get this thing edited. Going all the way down, you can see all the hard scales, all the raised areas. All the lines that were normally present in the suit are accurately represented here. Tons and tons of detail. No scarring like, you know, in the Millennium series, so you can kind of get a base on where this Godzilla was from. We look down here, all the way down the arms, the claws. Claws are individually painted and everything. You can see where the body folds on this is pretty much where the musculature on Godzilla is in the movies. And more or less where the creases and seams are in the rubber suit. There's a lot of attention to detail here. Just in that, making it not only look realistic, but how it would look in the movie more specifically. You see individual paint on each of the claws. A little bit of a gradient there, giving it a natural look. Of course, we have to get to my favorite part, the spines. Again, look, that hard rock kind of, almost like a coral type of molding to it. All of them individually painted, even the ones in the midst there. You can see, you can't really see where they're connected. But, you know, they did a great job painting every single one, all the way down from the top of his neck, all the way to this tail. My God, this tail. The scales are represented everywhere, and where there aren't scales, you can see in between the panels where it looks like some tissue connecting. Some stretched skin or rubber, whichever one you want to view this. And the same kind of lizard-like underbelly is present on the underside of the tail. Really didn't miss anything with this. I mean, sculpt-wise, this is probably one of the nicest Godzillas I've ever seen. Now, granted, at an affordable level, it's hard to find any Godzilla that can look this good. We in the US are used to hollow rubber ones that we've seen since the mid-90s. Never changing, never impressing, with a whole 4 points of articulation to their name. That leads us into the big question. How is the big G on posability? Well, you'd expect a lot from a series with arts in the title. SH Figuarts and D-Arts are phenomenally well-articulated action figures. And Godzilla's got a ton of points of articulation too. However, this is where I get a little bit more cautious. Let me go over this a little bit from the head down as usual. As I demonstrated, the jaw does fully articulate. The head can rotate at here at the top. It can go, well, that's about the range you're going to get. From here to here, and back. There's a second joint lower down that can actually give you some arch to his neck. There's a little bit of a panel under there too. to hide any of the huge gaps that this would cause. Again, retaining the more natural look to him. Arms, this one's good. He's got the bicep swivel, and he's got double-jointed elbows, ball-jointed wrist, very good. And the shoulders, which can move up and down, though it's quite stiff, and moving outward can only be done at certain angles. You're going to find a lot of that on this toy. A lot of the articulation is hindered because of just the shape of the body. They're trying to get the accurate look of Godzilla here more than make an incredibly superposable action figure. Like, he's not going to do rider kicks, not that you would expect him to. In fact, I might not even do any kind of rotation shots for this review, just because you're pretty much going to see everything here. There's not a lot of posing to do with the guy. He's got a little bit of waist articulation. That's stiff again, but, you know, it's an effort. And try. How about the hips? Oh, they can move out. They can both move outward. Okay, and they have a joint for rotating them up and down, but yeah, there's not a whole lot of room you can do. Look how thick the thigh pieces are. Just to accurately create that look, you know, the trick here is that it doesn't just have to stand up like Godzilla. It has to look that way no matter what you do with him. So, like, you can see huge gaps here, you know, just in the articulation they gave him. You know, just that little bit of room, just that little bit of wiggle room causes that much of a gap. This would be hideous if this, you know, if this thing could do, like, you know, jump kicks or anything. You know, despite that, you do have a double jointed knee. It has some motion to it, and as well as, you know, a bit of a swivel down there, and more importantly, a ball joint in the ankle, which does allow the feet to tilt back and forth for any poses you do get them into. Now, the other part, the one you're expecting the most, is the tail. Let me show you this. That is good. That is so good. Now, the only trick is that, again, because of the shape of the body parts, because they're trying to retain this accurate musculature, he's very stiff in the articulation here, too. I would really like to wrap this tail around a little bit more, just so I could display him in a shelf. You know, as it is, it's kind of a nightmare to put in a bookshelf of any kind. I have to put him in a special display just so this thing can stay out of the way. I mean, the tail is just so long. It's like, oh god, oh jeez. The one thing he can do, and they loved to tout this, is that Godzilla can go completely straight, which will allow him to look like he is swimming, as he did in quite a few movies. This is actually pretty easily accomplished. Everything does fold and tilt the right way for it. Godzilla's head raises up, moving back. And yeah, he does streamline all the way. So, Godzilla swimming. Now, if you want to pose him like this, you are going to need some really hefty stands. Good luck to you. Where the articulation lacks, I will credit the toy in this. It is dead solid. I mean, this is a hefty rock of an action figure. Very, very heavy, despite having no die cast. Very solid all the way around. Nothing feels brittle. Nothing feels fragile or flimsy. He is... Geez, he's made like he's made out of bricks or something. Here, I'll tell you the little secret about the articulation in Godzilla here. He doesn't really do anything but what he can do in the movies. Since it's pretty much based around where all the suit folds and, you know, everything that moves around in the movies, then, yeah, you can't expand on any of the things that you know Godzilla for doing, but he gets what he needs to get done. He has just enough articulation to represent what he can do in the films. So, in that sense, he has everything he needs. He does need one other thing. He does have an effect part, and this is probably one of my favorites. He has atomic fire, and a display just for it. You can see, let me give you the detail look here. It's a nice, the lights here, the lights here are kind of, illuminating it too much. But it is painted blue on the end to give it the effect of spreading out on an opponent. You can see it's kind of a burst pattern, which looks really pretty. This looks like the Fortress of Solitude from the satellite view, actually. And you can also see a little bit of the blue here in the tip as well, all the way down. Nice crystalline molding. I love this. And the best part about this, want to see it? Flame Trail is the stand for it. This is done really nicely too. Let me show you how this works. The end is molded to go inside Godzilla's mouth. I actually did a really good job molding this. It fits perfectly into his mouth and fills it completely, making sure that it looks like he really is spewing the flame forth. It's really a neat effect all the way around and a great accessory for, well, accessorizing Godzilla. Because really, what else is he going to come with? I think the only downside is the fact that the blast spreads out at the end, which means you need a victim, a target of some kind. I don't have any here, so here is O's Shouta. There we go. That looks like he's getting blasted, and he's dead. Hooray! Tokyo's doomed. Oh, if you had another MonsterArts figure, well, this would be perfect. Great battle scene potential here, and it is a great effect part on its own. It's Godzilla. It wouldn't be him without some atomic fire. So, I think that's pretty much all I can say about him. Yeah, I will give you this. The articulation could be better. At the same time, you get all the articulation he really needs to do what he does in any of the movies. He can recreate anything you know him for. Yes, even the sliding tail of doom, even though this isn't the right Godzilla for that. Point is, he does everything he needs to do, and he is incredibly solid. Whether or not that makes up for the limited articulation is up to you. Mine, of course, came from Hobbylink Japan, and so should yours. Well, at least if you're like me and you're absolutely sick of the really cheap ones you can get at Toys R Us. It's low on articulation, but you know what? It's still one of the best detailed and heaviest and most solid Godzilla toys I've ever witnessed. I'm sure there's some super expensive one that does better, but for the cost, you're not going to find anything that does it better than this. Still, as I said, this is the first toy of a brand new line, and there's always hiccups like this in that one. If we want one with better articulation, maybe we should look at the second entry.